Gorgi Barkskin, a warrior with a destiny. His story started when he was betrayed by his old warband, left for dead to a mercenary company. Gorgai suspects that company to be known as the Embers of the Flame, who he met once. Gorgai was gravely wounded, only just managed to escape with his life, vowing to take revenge on his old warband and the Embers of the Flame. Gorgai kept having recurring nightmares about being struck by 1,000 arrows. When he awoke, he didn't let this deter his ambition. Sargot, another casualty of war, the population of bakers, blacksmiths, tailors, traders, farmers and families, those who sought the refuge and opportunities of a city, now pick up the pieces of debris after the Northmen have left, back in Valandian control. The dust is settling, the alliances from the Battle of Pendraic are cracking. The different factions of Calradia are already at each other's throats. War is here, and the lines have been drawn. However, the extremities of war have left Gorgai unperturbed, unwavering to his purpose. Gorgai finds himself in the far eastern side of Sturgian territory. It has been over a year since those who betrayed him and left him for dead in the Imperial village. Until now, he has finally caught up with his old warband. A man by the name of Radagos, a friend of Gorgai, not anymore. He was bartering slave deals in a small village outside Tayao when Gorgai recognized him. It didn't take long for Radagos to start talking, not when the fury of Gorgai's eyes met with his. Radagos told Gorgai everything he needed to know. The warband had a hideout just to the east, and his 3 siblings were still with them as captives. You heard right. He'd never told anyone before that he had a family, as he thought they were no longer of this world. Without command or hesitation, all of Gorgai's men picked up their weapons. They were with him. Finally, revenge was within his grasp. Although he had the men and the power to destroy this man that he hated, that he once called leader, Gorgai would give him a chance to fight for his life in the eyes of the gods, made a greater warrior prevail. Gorgai finally got the revenge he sought. He swore to his men that this day would one day come. They helped him get here, and he would be eternally thankful. Gorgai was finally reunited with his brother and his 2 other siblings. Nozon would join Gorgai's warband and explain that Alishka and Fodor would stay at Tayao under the protection of a friend until they were old enough to travel and fight themselves. Radagos, an old raiding friend of Gorgai's. They go very far back, but he knew Gorgai's siblings were captives and he did nothing to warn Gorgai. And for this reason, Gorgai said to him, "For as many crimes, Radagos, your life is forfeit." The Barkskin clan's heaviest burden lifted. Reunited with his kin, Gorgai looked to the west. The war with Valandia was well on its way, and Gorgai had to swear an oath to the Sturgian king Ragnavold. Despite what he heard about Ragnavold acting childish at the Battle of Pendraic, he was still the king. Renewed in spirit, Gorgai and his brother and his warband made their way in search of the king. It was on his journey west when the other dark corner of Gorgai's mind came into play. A Khazate war party engaged Gorgai's men. "Stop there, who are you? It's better we know each other's names before we fight." His name was Synak of the Wolfskins. Gorgai introduced himself. Synak replied, "Perhaps you have heard of the Wolfskins, traveler? We are beasts. Know that so long as we eat no cooked meat, wear no woven clothes, and sleep under no roof, we cannot be touched by the laws of men." Unamused, Gorgai looked directly at Synak. We'll fight to our last drop of blood.
Forward! Make a shield wall! Everyone, hold arrows!
Gorgai said, "You fought well, and you're free to go." The city of Omor. Gorgai was close to the frontier, and no, not the Valandian one. Sturgia had also declared war on part of the Empire, a fractured empire. Whether it was all three segments of the Empire, Gorgai didn't know, but Sturgia was lashing out and taking no prisoners. Gorgai followed the smoke, and surely it led him to what he wanted, the Sturgian army. This force was being led by Yorick, a reputable lord with much influence. Gorgai spoke to Yorick and proclaimed his intention to pledge his service to Sturgia, a welcome notion. But Yorick pulled Gorgai to one side and told him straight, "You cannot pledge yourself to our king until you have made peace with our allies." He was talking about the Kurgid and the Wolfskins. Gorgai had to make amends, and quickly. If he was to appease the gods and bring glory to the Sturgian people, he needed to join the wars. And to do that, he needed to find peace with the people he fought so often. He was traveling back west again, frustrated but determined. There was a blessing though, as he met a trader in Varcheg. This man sold him olives and beer at a very modest price. There was a further blessing when he stopped off at Sibir. He got talking to a man who would be his companion, a man called Timir Korbiter, an experienced veteran looking for the kind of work that Gorgai had. Timir was honest and no stranger to battle. He would be an asset in the days to come, in the days of war. It took some time for Gorgai to get to Kazate territory, but at least he made some money trading the olives and beer, so the journey wasn't purely diplomatic. Going into Kazate territory was extremely dangerous, but he had to do it. He arrived at Kesar Castle, late winter 1085. He met with a lord called Nyantai, and as if at sea, the gods blew the sails of Gorgai's fate. Nyantai was an honorable man, and he had heard of the many, many lords that Gorgai had refused to imprison or execute. Without awaiting consent, Nyantai signed a peace treaty on behalf of the Kazate with the Barkskin clan. Now, nothing held Gorgai from pledging his allegiance with Sturgia. Varcheg, summer 1086. Gorgai finally met with Ragnavold, king of the Sturgians. He was very welcoming to Gorgai, and allowed him to join him in the keep. It was here Gorgai offered his service. He was not yet counted loyal enough to pledge an oath, but Ragnavold acknowledged his northern heart and his recent accomplishments and actions against the Valandians. "My sword is yours for the right sum," Gorgai said. The king explained that to start with he could be hired as a mercenary until the time comes where he can commit further. Gorgai accepted. Mercenary work was practically raiding, but you get paid. Ragnavold would have his men write up a contract binding the Barkskin clan to the Sturgians. Gorgai proclaimed, "You can count on me as of now. Your enemies are my enemies, and your honor is my honor." The king has little favor with many of the influential lords of the north due to his actions, or should I say lack of action at the Battle of Pendraig. But he is the rightful heir, with important friends, and commands just enough authority to have a strong grasp on the crown. The wars to come will test him. The gods and Gorgai will be watching. A couple of weeks later, Gorgai's warband was on the front line with the army, a renewed assault into northern Valandia. A Castle Kalis was the first target. This wooden fortification shouldn't be much of a hurdle as they pushed further into enemy territory. For some time, this fort was under Sturgian control, so Ragnavold wants to make a point of recapturing the fort swiftly. He was cutting no corners. For the first time in a long time, Gorgai was on free rein to do as he wished in the fight. With all his warriors assigned to different sections for the attack, he was able to explore the battlefield at his own leisure. Not that anyone in their right mind would call this leisure, but Gorgai did. The fort was certainly manned, but something seemed off. Pushed it around to get close to the front. Then he ran off to one side and knocked an arrow. He instinctively took aim at the parapet. No one. What was going on here? He was eager to get inside. When the main gate was pried open, they discovered a skeleton garrison. Dead men. I wonder what lies was told to these men to stay put. They cleared out the fort and turned the place upside down, searching for anyone or anything. The food stores had been cleared out, the well had been tainted and no civilians or livestock. Even the charcoal store was empty. The Valandians are up to something, at a heavy cost. They ventured south, and behold, Lord Calatild with the Valandian army was spotted. Over 400 men, half the number of Ragnavold, and quickly they turned tail and began to march back to Valandia. It would seem they weren't eager to fight the larger northern army, but Ragnavold wasn't interested. He would set up his siege camp at Ormafard Castle, regardless of the Valandian forces within sight. He didn't see them as a threat. He split his army by sending Gorgai and his main forces to a nearby narrow pass, a decision Gorgai questioned, but still obeyed. The narrow pass to any tactician looks as good as any place to defend off a foe. Perhaps this is why Ragnavold was cocky enough to suggest it would be easy. Naturally, they situated themselves on the high ground. The northern cavalry was sent out first. The enemy was marching in a column formation. It's as though they didn't even know the Sturgians were there. It was easy pickings for the northern riders. Gorgai was placed in charge of the archer division. The Valandians came, conscripted farmers and town watch, nothing compared to the hardened men of the north. The final men of the Valandian army had lost their courage and turned to run. This is when they saw the black smudge on the horizon. Those weren't conscripted farmers anymore. They came in line formation with discipline. Trained Valandian crossbowmen, hundreds of them. It took the Northerners a moment before they realized the true threat. They had become overconfident. A wave of arrows came crashing down. I know what you're thinking. Shield wall. That order didn't come. Instead, Ragnavold ordered the entire force to charge to close the gap. They had the height and the shields and could have sat on the hill for days. But they charged.
Attack!
Down in the valley floor, out of formation, is when the Valandian cavalry came.
Kill them all!
Gorgai managed to steal a horse. He used it to try and help fend off the many riders aiming for his archers. "400 men. This whole thing was a trap." Gorgai watched as Ragnavold's entire army was cut down by lance, by crossbow bolt, and by sword. Corina was not to be seen. His brother was not to be seen. Gorgi Barkskin would never let his nightmares become true. He ordered the retreat himself.
Follow me!
Routed, lost, alone. Gorgai had nothing and didn't know where any of his friends were, any of his warband. The gods were being cruel. Hello friends, glory to the Empire. Benoni here. Thank you for looking at the 5th installment of the Bannerlord tale, Gorgi Barkskin. I've taken ages to bring this one out, so I'm really sorry. I just want to apologise for that. I've really enjoyed making them, as you know. I've just got a new job, seeing a chick now, a new girl. So I've got a lot of things in real life, and there's a pandemic if you haven't heard of that. But I just want to say thank you for watching. I'm still going to be making these as much as I can. I really enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you prefer. I've got a big question as well. Do you like it when you see the game elements, you know, when I do trading and maybe the travelling around? Or do you want me just to like skip from story bit to story bit? Because maybe that'll be better. I don't know. Just I'd love some feedback for what I'm trying to say. And a big shout out to Tailworlds. They actually gave me a Twitter shout out for this. I didn't ask them or anything, they just did it, and some guy messaged me saying, "Hey, have you checked out Twitter?" I'm like, "No, I don't go on Twitter." And yeah, Tailworlds gave me a shout out, so that like made my life. I'm very proud of that. It's really spurred me on to make more. Looking at like the YouTube analytics, only about 10% of people actually watch all of my video, and that's like the whole 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So that means if you're one of those 10% of people, you are who I'm catering for. The top 10% of any business makes up 90% of their customers. I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying that you 10% of people are who I want to entertain. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching, my friends. Thank you very much. Enjoy the game. Bannerlord's only getting better. Have a good day and look after yourselves. Glory to the Empire.